Hey UPSTREET, welcome back to another week of online church and to part 2 of our current series called Focus. It's all about taking a closer look. It's all about faith. What does it mean to have faith? We said that faith is trusting in something we can't see because of what we can see. Have you guys ever tried being so sure about something? You were so sure you were right about something and something proved you wrong. In our story today, we're gonna hear about a man who thought he knew the truth until something happened that changed his life in a pretty dramatic way. Let's have a look and I'll see you guys after.
This is my faith, this is my focus, all of my days. I know where my hope is, I'll live it loud, I'll shout the chorus, because I know, oh, you're always for us. And even when it's hard for me to see, I will trust in you, I will believe. And even when it's hard for me to see, I will trust in you, I will believe. And keep on looking to you for where I'm going, knowing you go there too. I'll keep on looking to you. I fix my eyes on you. You are my only focus. You are my only focus. You are my only focus. I fix my eyes on you. This is my faith, this is my focus, all of my days. I know where my hope is, I'll live it loud, I'll shout the chorus, because I know, oh, you're always for us. And even when it's hard for me to see, I will trust in you, I will believe. And even when it's hard for me to see, I will trust in you, I will believe. And keep on looking to you for where I'm going, knowing you go there too. I'll keep on looking to you. I'll fix my eyes on you. You are my only focus. You are my only focus. You are my only focus. I fix my eyes on you, oh yeah. Woo! You ready? Come on, let's go. Hands in the air, hands in the air. I know you're there, I know you're there. Anywhere, oh. Anywhere. I fix my eyes on you. Hands in the air, hands in the air. I know you're there, I know you're there. Anywhere. I fix my eyes on you. And keep on looking to you for where I'm going, knowing you go there too. I'll keep on looking to you. I'll fix my eyes on you. You are my only, you are my only focus. You are my only focus. I fix my eyes on you.
Hey everybody, I'm Erica, and welcome to my Summer STEAM Lab! Today, I'm challenging myself to some optical illusions. Dizzy yet? And you know what these tricky little eye puzzles require? A whole lot of faith! Faith is trusting in what you can't see because of what you can see. So, let's give it a go! Whoa! That is wild! Wanna see? Does it look like the circles are moving? But they aren't! It's a still photo! The way the gray and the black and the white are used makes it look like it's moving. Crazy, right? Do I look like I'm moving? Now, this one is easy. Okay, which of these objects is bigger than the other? Object A. Duh. All right. Wait. Object A. Right? Wait a second. They're the same size. I'm so shocked right now. Okay, sometimes what we think we see is not what's real. And when we discover the truth, it can be shocking. Today's story is all about a guy named Saul who thought he knew it was true, but he was in for a big shock. Let's check it out.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now for an amazing story, inspired by the book of Acts, chapter 9, verses 1 through 9.
If anyone was set up for the good life, it was Saul of Tarsus.
Greetings.
Though Saul's family was Jewish, he was also born a Roman citizen. Throughout his life, he was known by two different names.
You may call me Saul or Paul.
As a young man, Saul was sent to Jerusalem to study with the famous Rabbi Gamaliel.
Let's see. You have achieved 100% in classical literature, 111% in philosophy, and in ethics, 99%.
Oh, I vow to do better.
Saul became a Pharisee like his father before him. He carefully studied God's law and prayed 3 times a day.
Dear God, help me follow your laws 100% perfectly.
Like the other religious leaders in Jerusalem, though, Saul was caught off guard by the events that surrounded the life and death of Jesus.
Good riddance. Now that fool can't try to overturn God's laws anymore.
Haven't you heard? Jesus' follower says he's returned to life.
They've seen Jesus?
They've seen Jesus.
Those riffraff will slink away soon enough.
Against all odds, the followers of Jesus didn't fade away. In fact, the numbers began to grow.
5,000? You're telling me that 5,000 people are following the way of a dead man?
Well, technically, they think he's alive.
Not helping.
The religious leaders in Jerusalem did everything they could to squash the new movement. They even arrested a leader among the Jesus followers named Stephen. After telling lies about him, they dragged him outside the city.
This man is a disgrace.
Saul stood by and held the coats of the men, who picked up stones and threw them at Stephen, until they killed him.
If Stephen had just let go of this Jesus nonsense, he wouldn't have had to die.
It's terrible. I heard people are following the way of Jesus in other cities too.
What? Inconceivable.
Saul quickly became known for hunting down people who believed in Jesus. When he discovered that some Jews in Damascus were following Jesus, he went straight to the high priest.
This Jesus thing is spreading everywhere.
I'm aware.
They think he's alive.
Yup.
Someone should do something.
I hope you have something constructive to say.
Give me letters to the synagogues in Damascus so I can arrest all the believers and bring them back here.
Now you're talking.
Saul set off for Damascus with the blessing of the high priest. He traveled with a group of men to arrest the believers they found. After days on the road, they neared the city.
There it is.
We'll make it by lunch.
No, we must take time to pray.
As he did 3 times every day, Saul stopped and turned to Jerusalem to pray, certain God was on his side.
Dear Lord, help me to catch every single one of those despicable Jesus people.
Suddenly, a light more brilliant than the midday sun blazed down around Saul. He staggered, fell to the ground, squeezing his eyes shut against the glare.
Saul, Saul, why are you opposing me?
Saul gasped. It felt as though the whole earth shifted beneath him.
Who are you, Lord? I am Jesus. I am the one you are opposing.
The men around Saul stared in horror and confusion, unable to speak. They could see no one, but heard a sound, perhaps like a roar of thunder.
Now get up and go into the city. There you will be told what you must do.
Saul reeled. He struggled to his feet and finally opened his eyes. He saw nothing, only darkness.
What's happened?
You tell us. We saw the light, and you fell, and this sound, and then you said...
I can't see.
What?
I can't see. I've been blinded.
That's not good. Here, take my hand.
Saul grasped the man's hand and shuffled a few steps forward.
Who are you talking to?
I think it was Jesus.
You heard Jesus?
I heard Jesus.
Saul's companions led him into Damascus, where he stayed at the home of a man named Judas on Straight Street.
Want something to eat?
I'm not hungry.
Or water?
Not thirsty.
For 3 days, Saul wrestled with himself and God. He'd come face to face with the very man he knew was dead, but discovered that Jesus was very much alive. Now blind, Saul was forced to see everything in a brand new light.
Okay, there's supposedly a picture of a dinosaur hidden in this image. Focus. Okay, I'll just have to have faith that there's a dinosaur in this picture because I do not see it. Speaking of, Saul literally couldn't see after his encounter with Jesus, but in a way, he could see better than he ever had before. Anyway, Saul saw everything. And Jesus made a way for everybody to be saved from their sins. After Jesus went back to heaven, he gave his followers the Holy Spirit. And then many more people believed in Jesus too. Saul wanted to stop the Jesus followers, and he really tried. But Jesus wanted Saul to know a better way. You know, it's amazing how God has revealed himself to people all throughout history. Saul, who is also known as Paul, so Saul and Paul are actually Saul Paul, was no exception, and neither are you. Just like God opened Saul's eyes to see the truth, he can open our eyes too. He may not appear to you in a bright light, but God can get your attention in all kinds of ways, like through nature. Or a conversation with a friend. That's really good. I like that. You're so wise. A song on the radio. God can even use your own circumstances to help you know him. And when you focus in and really see Jesus for who he is, the Savior of the world, it can change how you see everything. So that's the one thing to remember today. Knowing Jesus changes the way you see everything. It's like Jesus gives us brand new glasses to see out of. I can't really see out of these ones, but it's a different way to see. So that's exciting. Oh, perfect. Well, that's all I got for this week. Oh, perfect. These coffee beans want to wave goodbye to you. Bye.
God really opened up Saul's eyes in a dramatic way, right? Up until that point, Saul was on a mission to stop the message of Jesus. He was on a mission to stop Jesus' followers, and then his eyes were opened, and he could see the truth that Jesus is really God's son. And it didn't stop there. He became one of the biggest leaders in spreading the good news of Jesus. So he was someone who was trying to stop the message of Jesus to someone who was spreading the message of Jesus. What a change, right? You see, knowing Jesus changes the way we see everything. That's our bottom line for this week. And that's exactly what happened to Saul. God can open up our eyes too. He can help us see things the way He sees them. Let's think of ways that we can get to know God more. Maybe it's reading the Word, His Bible, reading devotion or God time cards. Maybe it's through listening to music or having conversations with mom and dad. However we try to get to know Him more, it's always worth it, because knowing Jesus changes the way we see everything. Now, after this video, I want you guys to decode the message on that activity sheet that I sent you guys. There's one sheet that has a circle with codes and another sheet that has blanks on them, and you have to figure out what the message is. When you're done, take a picture and send it to us. We want to see that you got it right, okay? That's it for today. We thank you for joining us, and I hope to see you guys soon. Have a great weekend. Bye.
What do you believe in? You believe I can catch a ball because you just saw me do it. You believe your dog is shedding his winter coat because you can see all the fur that your dad makes you clean up. You believe the floor is solid because you haven't fallen through it yet. Some people say seeing is believing, but faith says use what you can see to believe in what you can't see. You can't see the wind, but on those wild, stormy evenings, you can see what it does. You can't see what's happening inside your stomach without an X-ray machine, but you believe that this can be fixed by this. You can't see your parents' love, but you can see the way your mom cuts your sandwich just the way you like it, and how dad drives you to soccer 4 times a week. And no, you can't see God with your physical eyes, but you can see Him in everything He's created. You can see His love in the kid who's kind to you on the bus, and the drive-thru lady who smiles and gives you extra fries. Most of all, you can see who God is in Jesus and the eyewitness accounts written down by His best friends. When you trust, even when it's hard to see, when you live a life based on faith in who God is and how He tells us to love, others can see God at work in you. That's why faith is an amazing way to worship God with your life. Because worship is about more than just singing loud. It's all about living loud.